Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Hello and welcome to the third running of Friday Night Dirt Night here on RaceSpot TV and iRacingLive. Randy Chenowth, Cam Walsh, Hugh Lee, bringing you all the action, and we are going to start it off directly going into the Global Rallycross race live from Indianapolis Raceway Park, or now known as Lucas Oil Raceway. This is a layout that was run in the Global Rallycross Championship in 2017. So it is going to be the first time we see a real-world layout used on this Friday Night Dirt Night action. The other track that we have on the sim that was used in real life was the Daytona short layout, but we have not yet run that. We ran the long layout at the top of the season. Qualifying just now kicking itself off. Drivers are making themselves onto the racetrack right now, and it is a who's who of drivers in this one tonight. Stellan Chipavelski's here again, Jorn Jens, Mitchell de Jong, who's won the last 2 weeks running. A lot of talented people up and down this field for a track cam that is very technical, very exciting, and very, very dangerous. I'm expecting a lot of turn one incidents tonight.
Yeah, hello everybody, and yeah, it looks to me like this is a pretty good one. As far as I'm concerned, it's got the corners I like. I have not driven this track here, but I can see that it's got the corners that I like, and for me, this is probably the highest speed we will get all season long. You've got pretty much the run from the exit of corner number 3 all the way to the front stretch. That's going to be fun.
You really do probably have the highest speed differential, highest speed reach, excuse me, on this racetrack indeed. There's a couple things that make this track interesting. One is the way you actually get down into the infield section for the technical parts of the track. You actually enter turn number 1 of the oval, and you are hard on the brakes, and it's a tight, I think almost just past 90-degree left-hander to get down onto an access road, which is part of the racetrack, to get down into the infield. That's very difficult. That is the actual technical turn 1, and that's going to be very, let's just say, interesting, and it has been in sessions for a lot of drivers in the field. Qualifying cycling its way through. Mitchell de Jong currently on pole with a 40.926, 2/10 over Heinzenfeld Core Motorsports driver Mortis Lohner. So Coanda versus Heinzenfeld Core Motorsports, the probably a rivalry in GT sim racing last year. They're coming out continuing to fight once again. Another thing that's also interesting about this racetrack, Cam, we start the grid on the back straight of the oval, heading into turns number 3 and 4, going the correct direction. This oval has progressive banking as you go higher and higher up the oval, so the inside is a little bit flatter than the middle, which is a little bit more steeply banked, it's a little bit flatter than the top. So even though when these drivers grid, they will be 3 wide, even though the driver on the inside has that shorter route through, those drivers in the middle and the top side, they will have a slight pace advantage over that driver down on the inside. And because of that, the starts of this can be real crazy.
Crazily exciting, I'll have you know, Mr. Chenowth. Also, I did see on the overlay, apparently the layout is 14.5 miles. It's actually 0.79 a mile, 5 turns. But I like the infield here, actually, because it's a lot of grass on either side. You need to really focus the car. With the tracks that we've seen, you can kind of extend over the track limits. You can really push the track limits. Here, I don't think you got that. You've got walls on either side, and you've got grass where you can lose the car in an instant. So for me, I'm pretty excited about this, and I love that hairpin going onto the exit of corner number 3. That's going to be fun.
Driver is currently on a lap right now is Pablo Aruger Castro. He's already gone through his time laps, but he's doing a bit of practice laps. This is what the infield is like. Tight double 90-degree left and right-handers in the middle that leads you down the pit road of the oval, which is where the jump is, and then you get this long right-hand sweeper, which is where the drivers, well, Castro is not pretty much up to speed here, and I believe he's actually going to pull this off the racetrack. But typically when you run through there, you're sideways all the way from that point. Actually, Jorn Jens is about to go through it, hopefully at speed, but you see he pitches that car over to the right, and it's just a long slide all the way through the oval, the pit lane of the oval in NASCAR 3 and 4, and then into a hard hairpin, 180 degrees around, slide it around. You can use the handbrake there, but I don't think Jorn did. We know that Mitchell typically doesn't use the handbrake as well.
Yeah, I noticed that these quick guys really don't use the handbrakes, which is odd because let me tell you, I've only driven a couple of races. I use the handbrake all the time. I don't get why they don't use their handbrake. Again, probably why they're top skilled pro level drivers and I am not. But looks to me like the Volkswagen and the Ford look pretty good here today. Qualifying, not that different. It was a 49.04 versus a 49.94, so pretty good times.
I think Hugo Luis said it best. They're up here and they don't use the handbrake because they're better than you. That said, qualifying is now complete. Top two are very close between Mitchell de Jong and Moritz Lohner. Mitchell in a Ford tonight, Moritz in a Volkswagen, only 0.09 of a second separating those two. But let's go down the starting grid here for heat number 1. Mitchell de Jong will be the car gridded on the inside of the back straightaway. Starting on the middle will be Graham Bolin, and then you'll have Johan Hart on the outside of that front row. Jorn Jens will be in this field in 4th, Fabrice Cornelis 5th, Silon Chipavelski 6th, and Michael Guest will round out the 7-car field for heat race number 1. Mitchell has a little bit of sour history with this track. He did not make the feature when they ran here back a few months ago in the Global Rallycross Series. Will he have a better night of racing tonight? Revs begin to build, lights go out, and we are green at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It's not a great jump for Mitchell down on the inside of that front row, and I believe he's going to lose a couple of spots as he come on down towards the front straightaway. A little bit of contact with Bolin. There's a lot of contact behind. We're going to get a huge incident before we ever even reach turn number 1. That is Hart and Fabrice Cornelis involved. They both now have to get those cars turned back the right way. A bit of an Austin Powers moment, but that's going to basically put a nail in the coffin for them to have any hope of being able to transfer. Mitchell de Jong, he goes up and over the jump for the first time. Everyone else follows suit. Jorn Jens, the Kuwaiter teammate Mitchell de Jong, he slotted himself in 3rd. Currently as they run, it's Ford, Volkswagen, Ford, Volkswagen as they head into the hairpin, coming to the end of lap number 1. Ooh. And Jorn Jens gets a little bit of a tap, gets sent almost all the way around, but able to hold on to it. He'll hold that 3rd spot transfer position for now.
We'd call that a punterino right there. That was Jorn Jens got a big old shot, and here comes Chipavelski perhaps on the inside now. But either way, that Joker really is kind of negligible, I'd have to say. You basically run the pit lane of turn 1 instead of the apron of turn 1. Not really that much faster in my opinion. But either way, Mitchell de Jong, no surprises here. He's pulling away from Graham Bolin, and I thought Graham Bolin would have a shot. I think if perhaps he doored de Jong at the start, he might have had a shot. But right now, de Jong looking like he's in control.
Time differential for that Joker is about 0.2 of a second. I was talking to Mitchell about that the other night, getting prepared for the broadcast. So it's not as much as what we see at most tracks, and certainly not as much as last week where we were cutting out a 1/3 of the lap at Iowa. Mitchell de Jong now coming to lap number 3 of 5 of this heat in the corner number 1. He has a 1.7-second advantage over the likes of Graham Bolin, who has a little bit of a gap to the two Jorn Jens and Chipavelski. Those two will currently hold the last 2 transfer spots, and Michael Guest lurking in 5th, trying to reel those 2 in to try to get himself transferred up into the feature immediately. Now into pit road, this long right-hander, the longest you'll see these cars hold a slide in any of the tracks we have in the sim thus far, and then you have to get it back underneath you, get it slowed down, and get it turned around onto that final corner, coming to the penultimate lap here. And you see a very interesting line cam that are taking in these rallycross cars compared to what you see some of the NASCAR-style machines that would typically go around this racetrack through NASCAR 3 and 4. Very wide entry and apex, essentially at the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch these cars take the banking, and they do seem pretty comfortable on it. I know sometimes we take touring cars or something like that onto, or tin top cars, I guess I should say, onto banking, and they don't necessarily work that well. These cars, they at least seem pretty comfortable, and that dirt banking, it almost reminds me, that dirt right-hand turn, almost reminds me of the carousel at Road America, of all things, the dirt version of it. But either way, Mitchell de Jong, he is absolutely dominating this heat race right now. 1 lap to go.
Cam, knowing you, I'm surprised you didn't say it reminded you of the carousel from Watkins Glen, but drivers now taking the white flag for their final, apparently 14-mile lap around this racetrack, according to our overlays, at least down in the infield for the final time. It's slow, but it's actually a fun little middle sector that the drivers are cycling themselves through, that left to right-hand switchback. It's very satisfying to get right. Graham Bolin almost lands off the side part of the jump, but looking back at this fight for this last transfer spot, Michael Guest is there, almost wheel-to-wheel with Chip Pavelski. A move is going to happen here at the hairpin. Who's going to make it stick here is Michael Guest, not getting the run he quite would have wanted. He's going to fall back a little bit, and styling Chip Pavelski, he won't have a shot at Jorn Jens, but he will transfer, and Mitchell de Jong will win heat number 1 here, as he has done so all the way thus far this season. 3 pole positions, 3 Heat 1 wins for that Quintessensport driver. Michael Guest, he'll be on the outside looking into the transfer spots. Johan Hart and Fabrice Cornelis, they as well will have to get themselves through the B main. That'll be happening in just a few moments after heat number 2. But heat number 1's complete. Heat number 2 coming at you. Let's go down the starting grid. Moritz Lohner, Hoynes Velcor Motorsports driver, he will have the pole here in heat number 2. Sindre Setsas in the middle, and Ryan Kuhn on the outside of the front row. Mika Happinen in 4th, Pablo Aduro Castro 5th, and Evan Millard in that 6th spot. They grid up 3 by 3 here, if memory serves me correct. And it's going to be interesting to see you actually take that back. It might be 3 by 2 by 2. So, cars now set on the grid. Lights are now on. And we are green in heat number 2. 2 Volkswagens on the forward on that front row. And you see Lohner trying to get that inside run, trying to use the apron as much as he can to hold on to that lead position. But Sindre Setsas, he's going to use the progressive banking and immediately hits the Joker here, scrapes that wall, and that's going to send him around. Does he get that car somehow turned in? Somehow it all works out. He gets the car angled down onto the inner part of the racetrack. He loses a couple spots, but somehow, Cam, he's able to make that work.
Oh my goodness me, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen. 2 wide going across the jump there for the very first time. They're almost hitting each other. It looks like Evan Millard, he gets pushed into the outside wall there. That was insane. I was expecting at least 4 to 5 cars to get absolutely nailed in that, but Setsas, he was able to drag the car right in front of everybody, and not one person, as he actually gets a little bit of a nudge, he gets taken out and put into the inside wall, the apron of 3 and 4. He's not going to be running for this one, but I could have swore he was going to take out cars. I think the most impressive thing for me, Randy, not one person blinked. They went with it. That's crazy.
It's the Rallycross way. You can't blink. You have to have full confidence. There's 2 sorts of racing that you need to just be brazen and brave, and you just have to throw your cars into gaps that you normally wouldn't. One of those is Rallycross. The other type is, of course, figure 8 racing. But Maurice Lohner, he's going to come to the end of lap number 2 here. He's got himself a nice little 1.7-second lead after that big shuffle that happened on the start of this race. The fight is on, though, for the last transfer spot between Evan Millard and Pablo Aduro Castro. Millard, we know, has a little bit of damage because he got a little bit of contact as he entered the infield section, or the final corner, excuse me, and then almost a little contact with Castro. Castro jokering right there and was almost able to pick up that spot, but because the entrance after the Joker cam is so tight getting down onto the infield, those cars coming off the banking can carry so much speed that you don't really get the shortcut effect.
No, and I know that some Jokers are actually, they're not shortcuts per se, but they're longer cuts of all things. But here, it almost, it just seems like kind of an odd Joker to me, at the very least. Because you exit the Joker and you're literally entering, as we saw going into turn 1 for the first time, what happens when you re-enter. But they make it all work out, and these guys, they've been getting better and better week in and week out, and I think that's the impressive thing, too, to note, that these guys, they're able to race closer and closer together. Obviously, we've still had incidents, but for the most part, it's been pretty clean, and right now, we're seeing Moritz Lohner. He's working pretty good over Mika Happinen and Ryan Kuhn, and that's VW leading 2 Fords.
So a Ford Fiesta took the first one, and it looks like we're set for a Volkswagen to take heat number 2 as Maurice Lohner going to come across stripe to take the white flag. Everything's pretty gapped out evenly here. Evan Millard, though, still holds the spot over Pablo Castro. So even though Millard fighting a little bit of damage, doing a good job wheeling that thing to keep that transfer position down into corner number 2 now for the first time, or excuse me, for the final time, and into this infield switchback section. One of the drivers caught one of the tire barriers, so Millard had that bouncing off his hood. Race leaders, though, alone are going to be running through the 90s through this long right-hander for the final time, down into this 180-degree hairpin and out onto the oval. So the Hoynesville Core Motorsports driver will say, anything you can do, I can do better, to Mitchell de Jong, and he will take victory in heat number 2. Mika Happinen will transfer, as well as Ryan Kuhn and Evan Millard and Pablo Castro. I keep wanting to say Andre Castro. Andre is someone I've raced with. He will finish in the 5th spot, just on the outside looking in. So those 4 drivers will be finding their way into the main event tonight. But before we get to that, we will have one last chance for those drivers who did not transfer to cycle themselves for a consolation race. B-Main is maybe a little bit more well-known to understand it. This is the grid for that race. Michael Guest will start on the pole of this. Pablo Castro 2nd, Johan Hart 3rd, Sindre Setsas 4th, and Fabrice Cornelis 5. Only 2 drivers transfer, 6 laps to sort out who it's going to be. Green flag waves, and Michael Guest gets a good start. Setsas a rocket ship start as well. Johan Hart on the outside is slow, trying to work the progressive banking, but not quite able to do so. It's 4 Volkswagens and a Fiesta, and Fabrice Cornelis lurks behind. You see 2 drivers opting for the Joker right now. That's Setsas and Cornelis in contact between Setsas and Guest through the Joker here. Setsas trying to take the race lead as they work through the switchback section of the racetrack, and Setsas will lead the consolation race up and over the jump for the first time. Guest and Castro are wheel to wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Going over the jump for the first time, I have to say for Setsas, well, you know, the first time didn't work so well. Second time worked fine. So he's got the jump right now, but Michael Guest has got to work on him right now as they're beating and banging on the exit of the hairpin. You saw Fabrice Cornelius. He did not have a good heat number 1. He wants to have a good run here. We'll see how they go. Only 2 transfers, so every position is going to matter here. A bunch of people taking the Joker.
2 drivers taking the Joker. Michael Guest, he's not going to get anywhere near Sindre Setsas, so he's not going to get a chance. Castro is fighting with Cornelis, though, wheel to wheel. This is the 3rd spot. Is a little bit of physical racing from Cornelis, and Castro throws it right back, and Cornelis gets into Castro. 3 cars, all facing the wrong way. 1 upside down on the pit lane. 2. That's 3 drivers, basically with the races ended right there. No chance for any of those guys to transfer, and because of that, Sindre Setsas and Michael Guest, just all for them. They just have to get a little bit of practice here, Cam. Those 2 will transfer to the feature event.
Wow, that was absolutely bonkers right there. And I got to say, we now basically have a 2-car race, which is not exactly the most exciting thing in the world. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Guest damaged his car, so when he took that Joker, he hit that pit wall entry really hard, and I'm pretty confident he gave himself left side suspension damage, so that 2nd position was in risk. It was absolutely at risk, and if that incident didn't happen, most certainly Michael Guest would not have made the main. But you know what? Sometimes you got to take what you can get. And this 6-lap race right now for Sindre Setsas, well, he took the risk at the start. It's paying off.
Fabrice Cornelis is still out there on the racetrack running, so if you're Sindre Setsas or Michael Guest, you still can't make a silly little mistake here getting this little bit of practice in. It's a huge margin, but as we know, in the Global Rallycross, it's easy to make a little mistake, jump one of these jumps wrong, and land sideways and end up on the side that end up on the end of the car that the wheels are facing the wrong direction. So for these guys, they just need to make sure to not do that, and they should be fine as they come now to take 2 to go here through the hairpin. Setsas a little bit too tight, clipped those tires and picked up the inside wheels off the tarmac, but he's now back out there and running. But it's not going to be the night of racing that Fabrice Cornelis would have wanted, Cam, because he's involved in a big incident on the front straightaway of lap number 1 of his heat, and then here after a couple laps of running, he's involved in a big incident in the consolation race. Not what that driver would have wanted at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say, I think this might be the first time we're seeing Fabrice Cornelius. He might have been there week 1, I don't remember, but yeah, definitely not what you want to see. And yeah, Michael Guest, if you want a good time right now, watch Michael Guest, because he is wrangling this Beetle that has front suspension damage. I mean, there's no other way to say that the car is performing the way that it is, because he has suspension damage now. But watching him try to wrangle this thing around this circuit, it is certainly something to adhere. As finally, we are on, thankfully, the last lap.
Final lap started right now as Setsas works themselves into the middle part of the racetrack, excuse me. Quick little cut back and forth, and on towards the jump for the final time for Cendre, and he's got it perfect. He shouldn't have any issues from here. Michael Guest, he gets it nice and clean as well. So those two drivers with that should be fine as they work themselves through the long right-hander in towards that 180-degree hairpin left, and now back onto the oval, and this will be the checkered flag waving for these two, and they will be very happy to know that they are transferring to the main event. Cendre, a little bit of style of points as he comes across the stripe for his consolation race win, and Michael Guest comfortably takes that second spot. Fabrice Cornelis, Vendaval driver, of course, still not the most happy camper after what's happened to him. But with that, we will set our race grid for the feature event tonight. 10 drivers, 10 laps. Let's take a look at the starting grid right now. Mitchell de Jong will start on pole. He has been perfect throughout this season thus far. Pole positions, heat race wins, and feature wins. We know that at Lucas Oil, in the real world, he didn't have the weekend of racing he wouldn't have wanted. Can he be better here? Moritz Lohner second, Graham Bolin third, Mika Happinen fourth, Jorn Jens fifth, Ryan Kuhn sixth, Stylen Chepavelski seventh, and Evan Millard eighth. Cendre Setsas ninth, and Michael Guest rounds out the 10-car field here as we're just waiting for everyone to get themselves on the grid, and then we will be green flag racing. I believe we now have all 10 cars on your starting grid. So the lights will go on in just a moment. Lights go on, revs begin to build. And they're out, and we are green. It's a good jump from Mika Happinen up on from that second row. Mitchell de Jong working the short way round, trying to hold off Maurice Lohner going into the first corner. Graham Bolin, though, gets a big head of steam along the outside. He's going to lead these cars into the NASCAR section of the racetrack for the first time. Mitchell de Jong, he immediately jokers here on lap one, gets it cut back down to the inside, but Bolin will hold on to the race lead by a nose through the switchbacks. Now he has the inside. Maurice Lohner is getting in a little bit of contact in the background. A lot of contact happening back there, but none of it race ending. And Mitchell de Jong will just hold on to the race lead as they work themselves now through this long sweeper for the first time.
De Jong threw the tail slap with that Ford Fiesta in the BW. Shook it off, but it didn't shake off that one as there's a huge pile up coming off the hairpin. Everyone managed to get themselves worked around. Jorn Jens, he's the one that loses out of that one. He goes from position 5 all the way back to the end of this field as they're still running 2 wide going to the start-finish line for the second time.
That's caused a big shuffle. They were 3 wide. In fact, Maurice Lohner, big mistake going into turn 1. He slams that outside retaining wall. His day is going to be done after a little mistake there, as Michael Guest has picked up a lot of spots from where he started. He currently runs 4th out there on the racetrack. Cendre Setsas up to 3rd. So the 2 drivers, Cam, that we just saw transfer into this race from the consolation race, they're now running in top 5 spots.
Yeah, and I think things are running fairly well for them right now, but you got to say, with that contact that they had at the start, it was Graham Bolin and Mitchell de Jong. De Jong checked out, literally signed the check right now, because he is gone by a front stretch. And it is amazing what he is able to do in that little Ford Fiesta. And I got to say, for that Coanda driver, very happy there. But for Cendre Setsas and Michael Guest, yeah, pretty happy with that one. Got to say, that incident unfolded, the one that we saw there, that was Maurice Lohner on his own. He just tagged that grass. That's what I was talking about, how technical this is. You get a little wide, you push those track limits. He went sideways, and a couple people hit him broadside, and they sorted themselves all out. And then when they got in the hairpin, it just escalated from there. But right now for Graham Bolin, I'm not sure if he is going to be able to keep ahead of Cendre Setsas, because Setsas is running faster lap times. He ran the Joker that last lap with them, and he ran it almost a second faster. And the lap times coming in, it was a 41.4 for Bolin, a 40.7 for Setsas. So Setsas right now is flying.
7/10 of a second advantage for Setsas over Bolin. Bolin's going to be seeing that white Volkswagen getting bigger and bigger in his mirrors, and then now works himself once again back into the long sweeper here on the exit of pit road. Also have a close gaggle of cars from Michael Guest really all the way back to Ryan Kuhn. These are some of the drivers that were caught up in that traffic jam a little bit earlier on. And actually, as they say that, another basically mirror image incident happens. This is Stylen Chipavelski. He ends up facing the wrong way in the hairpin, so that's going to be his night possibly somewhat ruined. Not a lot of big damage, but it's going to be an unfortunate one for him. He's going to drop a few spots for sure. Sindre Setsas still setting his sights on Graham Bolin, but Cam, this is a very, very difficult racetrack to make passes on, and there's physical racing coming off of the oval, and a tire barrier gets shoved out of the way, and Chipavelski once again gets shoved out, and he loses even more ground.
Yeah, I mean, Chipavelski, I mean, he got parked right into that barrier, and instead of driving through it, he just parked the car. I mean, that, either way, good racing between Jorn Jens and Mika Hakkinen. Hakkinen's looking fairly strong right now. Two Fords going at it as Hakkinen, he does not use any handbrake or anything like that. It's a drag race once again. I like how they have to dance on and off the throttle, fighting for the grip with this all-wheel drive. Basically, it's a supercar, really. And then they drag it into corner one again. So some good battles. I wish Chipavelski was still there, but unfortunately, he got parked in that barriers. They're still going side by side.
Richard Young makes, that was very, very close. I thought he had that car almost all the way the wrong way around through the long right-hand sweeper. He was almost 90 degrees to the direction of travel, so my bad as they work themselves back on toward the front straightaway. But Sindre Setsas has done a good, I take that back, Graham Bolin has done a good job to manage this gap to Sindre Setsas, because Cam, there's a couple laps there where you said that Bolin was losing a lot of time to Setsas, but he's done a good job the last few laps to even the pace.
Yeah, he's quickened up right now. So Bolin's looking pretty comfortable, though I have noticed that front bumper is starting to get a little damaged. I'm pretty confident that at this point, this was a race to see who doesn't tag anything. Looks to me like Bolin unsettles his car on landing. He immediately unsettles the car. He gives it a little bit of a flick, and to settle into the corner, that actually allows Setsas to get closer, but he has an amazing exit off of the hairpin every single time, and we'll see how they go. I think these VWs might have a little bit of an easier time on the banking than the Fords, but I just think these Fords are perhaps able to carry the speed a little bit better.
Setsas right under the rear wing of Graham Bolin. It's also one of the big setup discrepancies on this racetrack is setting yourself up for that oval. There's tire pressure adjustments you can make, as well as a flurry of other things that will improve the car on that section of the racetrack as you run through the oval, but that might affect how you are through the infield section of this racetrack. Going to be 2 laps to go for Mitchell de Jong as he comes onto the front straightaway, and 2 laps to go, of course, for Bolin and Setsas as well. Setsas was very close, Cam, going to turn 1 that last time through, but not good to the infield at all. He's lost a lot of ground to Bolin.
Yeah, well, it just seems lap to lap, you know, all these duels. It's a 10-lap feature right now. We're on lap 9. Massive pancake into the wall, and then he hits the barrier, Chipavelski. He does not want to go anywhere near these barriers. Or no, as actually Setsas, sorry. They're not even driving the same manufacturer of car. Whoopsie doodle. But either way, I got to say for Chipavelski that he has been able to reel in Ryan Kuhn. So that's another battle, and never mind. Okay, he just spun the car out, so we'll just completely ignore that and move on to somewhere else, I guess.
Well, lap number 10 currently getting logged, and Mitchell de Jong has a casual 6-second advantage over the rest of the field, as Graham Bolin is still trying to work that gap to Sindre Setsas into corner number 1. Does Sindre have anything to get on that second step of the podium? Into the switchback, they come quick left. Set yourself up for the right-hander. You need to carry a lot of speed, get the traction down. Graham Bolin is pretty much perfect, up and over the jump for the final time, and into the right-hand sweeper. Meanwhile, Mitchell de Jong is exiting that sweeper through the hairpin and up onto the oval for the final time. Setsas is close. Will he make the move? No, he won't. And Mitchell de Jong, he will come through and take victory for the 3rd week in a row in Friday Night Dirt Night. Sindre Setsas ended up in the wall, and Graham Bolin is going to hold on to that 2nd spot, and Michael Guest, he will come home 4th. Evan Millard, a comfortable 5th. Mika Hakkinen 6th. Jorn Jens 7th. 8th place will be Chipavelski, and that will pretty much round out the field. Ryan Kuhn, 8th, and Chipavelski in 9th. So a lot of action in this feature race, Cam, but very, very spread out up and down the field.
Yeah, a couple of lap 1 incidents, gotta say. Also important, never give up, because our 2 consolation drivers, that last chance qualifier, they took that chance as high as you could probably go as a Sass and Guest there. Well, they finished 3rd and 4th, so good running all around. I have to say, Randy, I really like this track. I thought it went fairly well. We got a lot of good action, and I can say Lucas Oil Raceway, a great addition to the iRacing service.
It was a very, very entertaining one, a very physical one, and a very attrition-filled one, as it was in the real world. But with that, let's go down your post-race results after this feature from IRP. Mitchell DeYoung takes victory, and he is going to be a very, very happy camper about that. We should hopefully be stood by with him shortly. Graham Bolin in 2nd, Sidre Setsas 3rd, Michael Guest 4th, and Evan Millard will round out the top 5. Fantastic drive, might I just say, from those drivers who had to transfer from the consolation race. Both of them end up in the top 4. Nick in 6th, Ryan Kuhn 7th, Stilian Chipalewski, as I tried to work on my Polish. Unfortunately, not a lot of Polish-speaking people here in California to learn from. Jorniens in, Chipalewski in the 8th spot, Jorniens in 9th. And Moorheats Loner rounds out the 10-car field. He finishes 10 laps down after that uncharacteristic mistake in turn number 1 and 2. But we're now joined by race winner Mr. Mitchell DeYoung, and he stood by with Mr. Cam Walsh.
Yeah, so, I mean, Mitchell, you got in a car and you drove around from A to B a couple of times and took home yet another one of those flags that are dotted with black and white. I mean, I don't really... is there really anything to the interview at this point anymore, going on 3 weeks in a row where you've managed to take the victory?
No, yeah, no doubt it's been a good kind of run so far. You know, it's so tricky in Rallycross to consistently do well, especially at this track when on the pole you're almost guaranteed not to have the lead out of the corner just because you have to start on the apron. So no, it was quite a stressful week. I only did like a couple races before this, so just to try to, you know, be ready for the main one.
Yeah, and you did great in that first heat. You were one of the only 2 cars to get into that 42nd bracket. And the Joker here, I gotta say, is probably the most frightening Joker. We saw at the beginning of heat number 2, a very exciting start to the heat. You managed to take it right away. You gave a bit of a tail slap to the VW you were alongside. I believe it was Loner at that point, or maybe it was Bolin. I think it was Bolin. And you were able to get clear and just pull away. How much concentration does it seriously take to be able to just consistently pump out laps when you know full well that you don't have that car behind you and you've just got to hit your marks?
Yeah, no, it's extremely difficult. You know, like you said, the Joker is really scary. Even so, same in real life. You know, especially when you're on the main line, you have no idea what the car coming out is doing, and I kind of had to take it just because I had the 2 cars to my right, so just tried to make that work at least, and it looked like it did. We had a bit of contact there, but we were able to still make it through, and yeah, it was quite a crazy first lap, I would say, but no, it was, after that, it was pretty okay, but it's so tricky on this track, especially when the track starts to go away. It starts to get down to the pavement on like the long sweeping right, so the grip's super inconsistent. It's really hard to find that fast way around the whole time.
Yeah, I love that. Now I almost wish we could get a view of that right-hander, because I noticed that I could start seeing the stripe for the pit lane, that yellow stripe, and I was like, oh, this is, you know, these guys are starting to run on the concrete here. You know, that's pretty exciting. But either way, we've pretty much hit, for the most part, the gambits that we have here on the iRacing service, and we've raced on pretty much every type of track that we're really going to be seeing. And just kind of like as a final question, just overall these last 3 weeks, I mean, it's been pretty good racing, and it looks to me anyways like it's just only going to continue to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the tricky part is always finding the balance between how hard you can race and you know, the contact and things like that. I think that will be the defining factor for kind of all the races on this. If you can get a really good group that you can race really hard and, you know, have some rubbing here and there and all that, that's, you know, you can't beat it. It's the best thing ever. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it continues to grow. I mean, obviously the interest is still super big, and everyone still seems to like it. So I'm excited to see what, you know, the next weeks and months bring to this. So should be fun. Should be really cool.
Yeah, and of course, thanks so much for hopping in the booth with us. Anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. No, first and foremost, thank Virtual Racing School, Hoosingveld, and we're in design, SimQuip, dual reel timing, and of course RaceSpot. And yeah, everyone for tuning in.
All right, we'll see you next week at Daytona. Have a happy New Year.
Hey, thank you. You too.
So that's Mitchell DeYoung, of course, race feature winner 3 times in a row, Randy. And we've been to 3 of the 4 tracks. I missed out Phoenix. But we will get there the week after Daytona. But either way, I mean, pretty much all 3 different types of variants that you can really see, and he just continues to pile it on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we go to Daytona next week, because that's I believe we're going to be running the short layout, and that'll be the other real-world layout that we have on the sim. But we have a couple other interviews to get to. Let's get the second-place finisher, Mr. Graham Bolin. We're now joined by Graham. Graham, it was a pretty physical race there in that feature race, a pretty physical night of racing. IRP sort of lends itself to that. How was it for you out there in the 8 car?
It was really fun. The first couple laps was kind of hectic. I tried to get around Mitchell, but he's super fast, and I couldn't catch him after like the first couple of laps after he took the Joker. It was really fun though.
Let's talk about that Joker on a track like this, because most of the tracks, it's a shortcut that is, you know, several seconds, and if there's a car directly in front of you, it's pretty much a guarantee you're going to pick up a spot. You know, basically all the tracks, it's like that. IRP is the, you know, the stark contrast, however, because it is just basically a shortcut of the, well, it's basically just running the same line, just a much further inside, and you're so blind to what's happening to your right, and if you're a driver who's not taking the Joker, but someone to your left, how difficult is that to try to keep your bearings and not end up ending someone's night or your own night, getting on the brakes and trying to handbrake turn that thing to the left?
It's pretty hard, to be honest. Like, for me, the Joker was slower tonight because I took it very badly, and I wasn't near anybody, so I didn't have to deal with people around me when I took the Joker. But like Mitchell said, it was really hard to come back on the track with people surrounding you when you're coming out of the Joker, because you don't know if you're going to hit somebody or someone's going to hit you.
Thanks for joining us, Graham. Congratulations on a big second place here tonight at IRP. Again, one of the only real layouts we have on the sim at the moment, and definitely one of the unique layouts that we have at the moment as well. But before we let you go, any shout-outs? Who would you like to thank, Graham?
Nexus Esports, RaceSpot for broadcasting this, and Michael Guest on the P4, which is my teammate. And that was a really good race for us.
Well, you mentioned Michael Guest, and there is one driver who definitely mastered the Joker and leaned on him a couple times to pick up spots, and that was Mr. Sindre Setses. Cam, you're stood by with Sindre, who I think had the most exciting Jokers of the evening.
Yeah, and as we get him in here, first off, we'll get to the consolation race in a moment, but on Heat 2 was not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but just at the start of the race, you get the pole, you get the whole shot, I guess I should say. Take me through what was going through your mind when you lost the rear end of the car, you were going in through the grass, and you were sliding in front of literally the entire field heading into corner number 1.
Well, I knocked the rear suspension out, so my car just basically went sideways without me doing anything, so it was pretty interesting. It was, like cannonballing into turn 1, seeing how many I would take out without having any control, but didn't take anyone out, unfortunately, and yeah, had to go through the consolation.
Yeah, interesting, I think, would probably be a good word for it. I gotta say, it was. I can tell you that we got pretty excited. So you know, it's. But either way, yeah, you were able to take advantage of that last chance qualifier, and then we got to the actual the feature race itself, and you really did a good job wrangling that car around and coming home with third when you were starting so far back.
Yeah, it was in general a good race. Minor damage in the feature race, like from lap 1, but other than that, it was pretty good. Car was drivable at least, not like in Heat 2.
Yeah, and either way, I mean, you didn't finish that far behind Bull, and you tried to set him up a couple of times and kind of tried to give him a nudge in that final hairpin. But either way, just taking a look at the tracks we've been to, I think this track's been pretty fun. What are your thoughts been, kind of as a final question, of the last 3 weeks of Rallycross racing?
I've had fun. Just want to shout out Fabrice Cornelis and Mika Hapanen, who's doing the same race. We're all from different teams, but we've come together, work together as well to become faster, and it's been good fun. Rallycross, it's a good addition to iRacing.
All right, is there anyone else you'd like to give a quick shout out to, or before we let you go?
Well, I don't know.
Well, you pretty much covered it all in the first, but I always ask anyways. But either way, thank you so much, Sindra, for hopping into the booth with us. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, hopefully. See you.
So that's Sindrius Setsas, of course, the Volkswagen that managed Randy to, after having an abysmal heat number 2, end up coming home in the feature in position number 3, which really goes to show that anything can and will happen in this Rallycross series.
Yeah, he had a miserable heat too, but he definitely made it up for the 2 jokers that he did in the consolation race and in the feature race. Those were exciting to watch. Just leaning on Michael Guest a little bit, just all good physical racing that you get in global Rallycross. But that's going to do it for us for week 3 of the Rallycross. Of course, Friday night, Dirt Night, not done just yet. We still have 2 sets of racing action to come. The very first, we're heading to Knoxville, the sprint car capital of the world, for the World of Outlaws Dirt Super Late Models. Don't go away. That's going to be exciting. And of course, after that, heading to Lanier, where we're going to be unleashing the winged 410 sprint cars on the shortest dirt track in iRacing at the moment. Be sure to stay tuned in. Thank you for joining us and watching leg number 1. Hopefully you continue to watch legs number 2 and 3. The World of Outlaws, especially the late models lately, those races have been phenomenal. Don't go away.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the world of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Welcome to leg number 2 of iRacing's Dirt Night, here live on RaceSpot TV, iRacingLive. Hello, everybody. Still Randy Chenowth and Cameron Walsh here in the booth with Hugo Louis pushing all of the fancy buttons. Well, we've gone up to Knoxville Raceway here in Knoxville, of course, and it looks to me like we are all set to have another barnstorm of a race. We've got 17 cars on the docket, 2 heats, 1 last chance qualifier consolation if we can fit it in, and if not, we go straight to the feature. And Randy, it looks to me like qualifying is underway. Qualifying times, no surprises. They are neck and neck as, well, they're round and round this Knoxville circuit.
A lot of close times up and down the field right now, Cam, and again, another who's list of drivers. Tyler Hudson, he's in the field. He actually just finished, actually, no, he may have wasted or gotten a 1X or thrown away that first time lap, but he's now on his second time lap out there in his, let's just say it's Ford branded late model through 3 and 4 of this Knoxville Oval. And where will Tyler Hudson slot himself in this grid? 18.1, he goes to pole, no surprise there.
Yeah, it's some form of Mustang for the record, but either way, it just looks to me Jordan Wesley. He's running around the circuit right now, and no, it is no surprise that Tyler Hudson is sitting on pole as Jordan Wesley looking to put in his first time lap, some sort of, I imagine, a Chevrolet of some kind, perhaps a Camaro. They look just like the cars. I mean, really, that's, you know, it's like they're out there on the circuit. But anyways, no, these late model machines, as you can tell, don't look like anything you can ever see. These machines are absolutely staggering. 438 cubic inches power and 850 horsepower through this full roll cage machine. And I gotta say, 2,250 pounds means, Randy, these things, when they throw it into the corners, they mean business, and they are not afraid to trade paint.
And it's 2,000, couple, let's just say about a ton of weight that is very softly sprung. The sprint car, very, very stiff. They don't really, I mean, they move around, but they don't move around quite the way these cars do. The way the body roll affects these machines, it's pretty extraordinary to watch these cars actually work. Modified is much the same way. Late models much the same way, but the late models are pretty much the ones that are famous, Cam, for watching them pick up a wheel or, you know, watching that front body work really move around.
Well, it's interesting when you're watching. Of course, it's a little hard now because there's no cars on track. As we get ready for heat number 1, we'll go through the heats real quick. But it's interesting because you see when the car is stationary here on pit lane, that front looks so weird. As you can see the cars being pushed out onto the starting rows. You can see that front lip, it curves so much from the left wheel to the right wheel. Yet when they are in when they are on circuit and they are on it, you will actually notice that whole front lip is completely closed down onto the circuit. That's just how much movement these machines get. All right, let's take a look at the grid for heat number 1. No surprise here. It is Tyler Hudson, number 5 machine, qualified with an 18.121. Virgil Graham, he'll start position number 2. Alec Kane will start P3. Brayton Wallace in 4th, Jacob Levertstein in 5th, Jordan Mitchell in 6th, Chris McGuire in 7th, Joe Lorello in 8th, and David Galloway, he is going to be starting in 9th position here, Andy, without a qualifying time. But you know what? We saw in that GRC race, anything can happen.
Yeah, these guys aren't going to be doing any jokers, unfortunately. Maybe that's what dirt track racing needs, Cam, to make a comeback. We need to see World of Outlaws sprint cars and late models doing jokers on these little ovals. That'll really spice things up. But no, this is a very, very tightly contested heat number 1. Same formula as per usual. 8 laps, top 7 advance to the feature. The last couple drivers that they will trickle themselves down in towards the consolation race, which I'm still not quite sure we're going to be getting here tonight, just due to the car count. But this should be an exciting heat number 1.
Well, they say 7 transfer, so it looks to me like consolation. Well, if 7 transfer, that'll leave 2, and I don't think they would have just a 4-car feature or a 4-car end to that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But either way, Pace Truck has rolled out onto the racing surface. The official Pace Truck of iRacing is, we don't know. It doesn't have a brand on it. But some of these cars do, however. As I see actually outside Virgil Graham, he's running a Toyota Camry. We've got a couple of Mustangs. I've never understood why people actually put that stuff on the cars, because it looks nothing like it.
Because they're running branded motors, Cam. They're running either Ford or Toyota or...
It's not a Camaro Mustang.
It looks less ridiculous than the Top Fuel funny cars that are branded as well.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling those 10,000 horsepower NHRA. I have a feeling that Ford Mustang that John Forrest drives is not very Mustang derived.
You never know. It could be stock. It could be.
Never seen a Mustang with a Hemi.
Either way. The iRacing official Pace Truck looks to pull off this time by after performing a 2-hole heat practice laps, pace laps. I got it. Anyways, he pulls up. We'll see when Tyler Hudson goes. He'll pin it almost as soon as the safety truck gets to the safety pit lane. We're green for heat number 1 here at Knoxville Raceway.
It's a good jump from Tyler Hudson. Contact for second, and that's going to drop that 17 machine back a number of spots of Alec Kane, and still a lot of contact. A couple cars facing the wrong way here at Knoxville, and Alec Kane from second on the grid, second row, excuse me, he goes all the way to the back of the field.
And Tyler Hudson, he is going to be taking the corners number 1 and 2 once again. Looks to me like Jordan Mitchell and David Galloway get away, but Galloway looks to me like he might have front suspension damage. That could just be bodywork damage. These cars are fairly tough, but Tyler Hudson, he's able to get the gun, and he's got the position now. As you can already see, that line forming on the inside, that's going to be very important. Sure, these cars, they use a lot of the circuit, but they put a lot of weight down, so expect to see this track get worn in battle for 4th position. Right now, it's Jacob Leverson and Chris McGuire.
A lot of close fighting up and down this field, like you said. McGuire and Leverson pretty much the 2 closest out there on the racetrack. See these late models, they're leaning up against that berm down on the inside of the racetrack a lot more than we saw the sprint cars doing last week. Cam, you see that 2 machine, he basically puts the entire front end up over that little ridge and uses that to help shift a little bit of weight rearward and get that car turned in. Jacob Liverstein making that inside line work really well right now.
Yeah, and of course, we got to remember here at Knoxville, this is a brand new circuit on the iRacing service, and my goodness, did it perform last week. Let's see what they can do over the next couple of heat races, or the next heat race, I guess I should say, here at Knoxville. And since it's the sprint car capital of the world, let's see what the show these super late models can put on. Right now, looks like it's going to be Hudson, Graham, Wallace, Leverstein, McGuire, Kane, and Lottarello going on if things stay the same as they are now, but it looks to me like everyone's getting a little bit spaced out right now, and I kind of expecting this, Randy, because I think the track, it's got a lot of tack to it right now. It started with moderately low usage. When we start getting into that final, that's when things are going to get interesting, because we got to remember here, these cars can run a lot longer than the sprint cars. It's a 40-lap feature here. I have a feeling that when we get done with this track is going to be completely worn in.
It's a much narrower track for these late models, as well as Tyler Hudson's going to come through 3 and 4 and take that checkered flag here in just a moment. But you're absolutely right. It's sort of a much calmer race here through heat number 1 that we're seeing thus far, as Tyler Hudson's going to take the win here in this first heat. And then Virgil Graham, Brayton Wallace, Leverstein, they're going to round out your top 4. Chris McGuire, he is 5th. The only drivers who will not transfer are Jordan Mitchell and David Galloway Jr. So everyone else pretty much going to transfer through, though I'm still not suspecting that we're going to get a consolation race. I don't know if we have enough cars.
Yeah, I think a 4-car race would be, well, you never know. But either way, grid number 2 is getting pulled out right now onto the starting grid, and here we go once again. We noticed, well, in the sprint car last week, heat number 2 was the Bronco Buck of the family. That one had pretty much all the familiar names, and yet it was interesting. Just as we heard in GRC, it was interesting. We'll see how it goes, though. Howard Weaver, he starts position number 1 with an 18.136. Austin Semmelman will start his outside. Lucas Chowning in 3rd. Jordan Wesley 4th. Dylan Wilson 5th. Joshua Lawton, he'll start in the 6th position. Roman Wesley in 7th. And Brett Wheeler, he rounds out heat number 2. Cars are pulling away, Randy. Let's see how these guys do.
Howard and Austin, having them on the front row is going to be exciting. They had a close, intense fight last week out, and I don't know, this is going to be interesting. That number 9 machine comes off pit road, and that is some aggressive tire. You don't really heat up tires or clean the tires off on dirt, so I'm not sure what that 9 machine Lucas Chowning was doing. He'd be doing very well in the monster truck freestyle, though. But it's gonna be interesting to see what Brett can do. Brett not really having the pace tonight. Slowest by the next quickest driver by about half a second. So hopefully Brett's got a little bit of something underneath him in race trim and can make something happen.
Well, I've noticed in qualifying, for me, it can be very difficult. You're supposed to exit pit lane and immediately be on it. That is something I have never been able to do. I always need at least a good 2-3 laps to warm up to get in my pace. Well, perhaps he can do that. Cars are going to start piling up now behind the iRacing official pace truck. And we will see how we get this green start. And will Howard Weaver go immediately? Will Austin Selman try to jump the ghost 1, 2, 3 times? We'll see how we go as the pace truck looks to go to the safety of pit lane. Pretty fairly soon here. Here he goes down pit lane. How was it for 1 Mississippi? That's all he gave it. Howard Weaver, he's got the whole shot. He's got the lead going into 1 for heat number 2 at Knoxville Raceway.
Through 1 and 2, and Austin Selman's going to slide in the 2nd spot. Top 2 is sorted. 3rd, though, still side by side between Jordan Wesley and Lucas Chowning through 3 and 4. They will come that 9 machine a little bit high up on the racetrack, not quite getting down low, but the 6 is also running a higher groove as well. But everyone pretty much gets themselves single file. Back into the field, though, 14 and the 10. They're door to door as they come on the back straightaway. A little bit of contact with Joshua Lawton. He's going to drop a spot because of it.
Yeah, Austin Selman sliding up the track. That allows Jordan Wesley a peek at the inside. Lucas Chowning is looking to follow alongside. And here goes Austin Selman. He is kind of stuck on the outside. Don't think there's any speed there right now, but we'll see. He's starting to fight back through the back stretch right now. Jordan Wesley, however, he is holding strong. He'll slide up the track. His right rear quarter panel will take a nice little bite out of the front nose cone of Austin Selman. That'll cycle him back, and he's almost stuck on the outside because now here comes Lucas Chowning. And here comes Dylan Wilson at all. So Austin Selman, he's sliding back.
Selman has dropped a couple spots in this heat. He's not going to be happy about that. He gets aggressive down on the inside. Not quite able to make that move stick, though, on Chowning. Because of that, he might drop another spot to the 12 of Dylan Wilson. Wilson on that top side now. Not really seeing anyone up high. Mostly everyone through heat 1 and 2 running down low, but Wilson has good speed up there, good momentum. That 1 machine is Selman Cam, I think, is going to drop another spot here in the next lap or so.
Impressive. Austin Selman lost those 2 positions on the outside, and now he's losing the 3rd position by a car that's on the outside. So either way, these cars are perfectly fine. This is the 7-car field. So if they say 7 transfer, I don't think that they would stick 2 out. So yeah, I think this is mostly.
It's 8. Brett's just way back there.
Whereabouts is he? Oh, I see him. Oh, there he is. I see that now. He's trying to get comfortable. I can't blame him. I wouldn't be doing any better. I can assure you that. Late models are not my thing. I don't. Unfortunately, here in the Northeast, we don't really see them. I see them at when it goes Super Dirt Week. But either way, looks to me like Howard Weaver. He's got a good jump here on lap number 8. As he looks to cross the start-finish line to take victory for heat number 2. Howard Weaver, he's got the jump, and after a good little 3-minute bout of racing, he's taken it in heat number 2. Jordan Wesley will finish 2nd, Lucas Chowning in 3rd, Dylan Wilson in 4th, Austin Selman, he'll be in 5th, Roman Wesley in 6th, Joshua Lawton in 7th, Brett Wheeler will finish in the 8th position, and Randy, a little concerning if you're Austin Selman because, well, at the end of the day, as, yep, everyone moves to the feature, at the end of the day, he really didn't seem to have any power out there.
Yeah, that was not a good run there from Austin, was it? He just sort of immediately started falling back and, you know, just didn't quite maintain any momentum, and just really unfortunate for him. He started up near the front row and he finishes so far back. He's going to be starting 10th here in this one, so 5th row finish for him, essentially, for Selman. He's not going to be a happy camper back out. Be interesting to see if he can drive his way up through this field. It's important to note, though, this being a new track cam might be the situation. Some of these guys not quite as used to Knoxville in these late models, because we heard last week from the sprint car guys, it's a very, very unique track, and seeing some people who are typically strong kind of struggle out there tonight.
And we will see here as the fireworks are shooting into the lovely sky here. We are once again under the night, and we are once again thankfully joined by you all, so we appreciate you guys sticking it out here. Leg number 2, of course, the 410 wing sprint cars will be coming up after this 40-lap feature. Cars pulling out onto the circuit right now behind the iRacing official pace truck underneath those lovely fireworks. Let's take a look at your World of Outlaws Craftsman late model starting grid here at Knoxville Raceway. It is Tyler Hudson. He starts from position number 1. Howard Weaver starts his outside. Virgil Graham and Jordan Wesley take row number 2. Brayton Wallace and Lucas Chowning is row number 3. Jacob Leverstein and Dylan Wilson is row number 4. Chris McGuire and Austin Semmelman, that's row number 5. That's going to be your concerning one right there. Where is Austin Selman going to be able to go? Joe Letterello, Roman Wesley is row number 6. Alec Kane and Joshua Lawton, row 7. Jordan Mitchell, Brett Wheeler, row number 8. David Galloway rounds out this 17-car field. Randy, I'm pretty excited about this one. Lights are off on the truck.
Lights out on the truck, and this is going to be an exciting one, Cam. Hudson was awesome through his heat. Howard was awesome through his heat. New track, cars. These late models have been a lot of fun the last couple weeks. I think they're going to be exciting once again.
Yeah, the late models are going to be dusting the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, which is just sitting off of the corner number 2 exit. So we'll see here as the official pace truck pulls off, and Tyler Hudson, he'll pit it and he'll get the whole shot. We are green for the 40-lap feature in the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series.
With an awesome jump for Hudson, and Weaver's got himself pretty much clear in the 2nd spot. A lot of shuffling about for spots through the midfield as they work themselves on the back straightaway, but everyone through mostly clean. Couple drivers have dropped and jumped a couple spots, but pretty much through and onto the front straightaway at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, that Graham had an awful start. Virgil Graham, that number 7 machine, he ended up getting jumped. He went from 3rd to 6th one lap. We are 3 wide. Austin Selman, Jacob Leverstein, and Chris McGuire. McGuire all the way on the inside, Selman all the way on the outside, which leaves the number 2 machine of Jacob Leverstein in the middle. And they've been like that now for a couple of laps. Looks like they finally get the position on Chris McGuire. McGuire's not giving up on the inside, though, which is going to force Selman back. Good racing here, but we got a good fight for the lead developing.
Yeah, Weaver's done a good job to reel in Hudson, and as they work themselves down off of corner number 4, Weaver's going to try to get himself a good run. Actually take that into the front straightaway. Number 3 machine, a little bit higher on the racetrack. That number 9 Cam, seems like Tyler can work that bottom really well up against the berm. 3 of Weaver, a little bit lower as they work themselves through 3 and 4. Now both of them running the middle, and caution flies.
And this is a big one here, though. This is that battle. Somebody's not a happy camper. Chris McGuire. So obviously something has gone on with these guys. And yeah, I feel he feels that Selman took him out with the way he drove that car in there, like it was a Bowman Stadium, which is not what you want to see. So yeah, it looks to me like they were coming off of 3 and 4. Chris McGuire, he slid up the track a little bit. Selman on his outside. They racked, and they actually collected a third car. I don't know whom that was. That was the number 14, I believe, of Roman Wesley. But yeah, afterwards, that was just completely unacceptable, I would say. Afterwards, yeah, they're not happy about each other, but, well, what can we do? Yep, still not happy as, well, you know, it develops, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is. I think I'd put that on Chris there, so I don't know what he's upset about, but hopefully he gets it off the racetrack and doesn't make too much of a fool of himself here on air. But caution flies for the first time in this one, and that was not a lot of laps we got on the books before that came out.
Yeah, and these guys, it doesn't help that they're literally parked next to each other in 14th, 15th position. They probably hit each other like probably 6 or 7 times now. So we'll just go on from that. But I gotta say, yeah, we only got 6 laps in, but this happened last time. This happened early. You get that one caution early, and that kind of gives everybody the shake. Something happens, and then we get going. We get that long green that we like to see, and we'll see how it goes. Lights are out on the iRacing pacing truck. And it's going to be Tyler Hudson and Howard Weaver once again. Will Hudson pin it as soon as the pace track clears? We'll have to find out. And where is Virgil Graham going to go? He did not have a good start. Will he be able to jump a couple of positions? He's got the speed. Let's see what he can do here. The iRacing pace truck looks to the safety of pit lane. After caution number 1, let's get the tango resumed. Let's rock and roll. Tyler Hudson, he looks to pull away. He gets the whole shot. And we are green here at Knoxville.
What a start that was for Hudson. 6 of Jordan Wesley. He's going to slot himself into the second spot. Howard Weaver nowhere as he's dropping now outside of the top 3. He's run 4th, and he might indeed drop to the tail end of the top 5 here as the 4 of Brighton Wallace. He's going to take that final podium spot off onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, and it looks to me like we've got that good start. And here comes Virgil Graham. I said look out for him. Now he's fighting for whom started in second, Howard Weaver. He's on the inside, that number 7. Let's see what he can do. As he's riding, it looks to me like that left front just picks a little bit of a berm. And it just doesn't seem to settle very good in the middle sections of the corner. We're almost running 3 wide now. Brayton Wallace getting involved in this one as Tyler Hudson is checking out.
And Tyler's looking perfect out there. He ran a flawless heat, and he's been perfect in this feature event thus far. They've been giving these guys, Cam, have been giving him a wide berth on the starts, being a little bit slow on the gun to get themselves up and running. And give Tyler Hudson a big gap like this is something you do not want to do because he's just going to run away, and that's what he's done pretty much all night.
Yeah, and I'm watching the battle further back in the field. I feel like we might be getting another caution with these two guys because no surprise, door-to-door, 13-1, Austin Selman, Chris McGuire. So we'll see how those guys can manage to keep their hands to them dang selves. As Howard Weaver looks to the inside of Brayton Wallace. It's the 4 and the 3, the all-blue machine versus the black and orange 3. As it looks to me like a little bit of a door check there, but this track is starting to give way. That groove is growing, and the track is just creeping ever higher to the outside. And it looks to me like Tyler Hudson, well, he gets the pick of the lane. Everyone else, however, they're just driving where they can.
That's pretty much the situation right now. Is that inside groove, like you said, Cam, slowly going away, and it's slickened up. Howard throws a bit of a slider on the 4 of Brayton Wallace. That was a fantastic move to pick up that 3rd spot, and well done by him to make that stick. He's going to try to continue working his way back up where he started, but he has Jordan Wesley in the 6 machine running second. He needs to try to make a move on next, and can he make the same move happen twice? Not quite as committed, but that 6 machine running a little lower on the racetrack, so nowhere to go for that 3 down on the inside, but he had the overlap for a moment.
Yeah, and Tyler Hudson, that number 5 machine, comfortable as can be as he is running away with it right now across the start-finish line. It is almost 1 complete second as here comes Howard Weaver on the inside of Jordan Wesley. Wesley, though, he'll get the counter and the punch, and he pulls alongside the number 3 machine. He'll throw it onto the inside. He'll creep up the track. And look at how far that car slingshots now. That's how wide the groove is. The tire loses it, it spins, and it'll truck the car up the track. You can see that happening to Howard Weaver as cars are starting to get a little bit bumping back to a little in the field. Virgil Graham and Lucas Chowning taking a bite out of each other.
Now Howard, he actually has that spot down and dusted. He made a fantastic move on the inside, basically parked the car coming off the corner, and that gave the 6 machine nowhere to go. As like you said, Chowning, those guys, they're fighting really, really hard here through the mid-pack, and up near the front cam, the fighting's gotten relatively sorted itself out, but this mid-pack still aggressively shuffling for spots.
Yeah, Jacob Leverstein, he's got the number 2 on that machine. That means he is the driver with the second highest I rating in the server. He's stuck back in 9th position right now, so he should seem to have a bit more speed, but he just doesn't seem to have it right now as he is stuck behind Alec Kane and Joshua Lawton. The all-orange number 10 of Joshua Lawton looks pretty comfortable in that 7th position as we're rounding out lap number 20. We're halfway through our feature here at Knoxville. 1 caution on lap number 6, and that was that. As we've got a battle brewing for 3rd position as Jordan Wesley and Brayden Wallace are going at it.
Yeah, the fight is on, and Jordan Wesley, a little bit of contact. Brayden Wallace gets shoved up the racetrack, and he's going to drop a little bit of momentum because of this. So because of that, Wesley will hold that 3rd spot. But Wallace, he's going to fall into Lucas Chowning and Virgil Graham. This little going to turn into a 3-car scrap here as the 9th. There's an aggressive move down to the inside of Brayden Wallace. Wallace isn't going to be happy that he just lost the positions he just lost. I don't think he's going to be looking to drop back anymore.
No, I don't believe so at all. Look at how sideways these machines are getting. It's not that much more sideways than at the start of this race, but it is indeed more. As it looks to me these super late models are doing a very fine job driving around this Knoxville Raceway circuit, putting on a very good show for all of us here on the iRacingLive service. And of course, RaceSpot TV is a little bit of a net from Jordan Wesley. That sends him sideways, and he will now go 3 wide into corner number 1 with the car of Virgil Graham, and he'll turn him around, and they'll pile him in here at Knoxville Speedway. Caution flag is going to be out. That's not what we wanted to see.
Yeah, a couple cars around there. Second caution is going to fly on the night. Just aggressive racing here in these for all these guys here through this middle part of the race. So got to the halfway point relatively clean, just that 1 caution. And Virgil, I think to be relatively, he's not going to be happy that he got spun around, Cam, but considering he did so right in the racing groove, the hits he took, I don't think there's any terminal damage on that car, so should be relatively happy at least with that.
Little bit of front nose cone damage, but I don't think that's going to ruin the car at all. These cars, as far as the body work goes, yeah, the body work's important. You can't deny that, but at the end of the day, the machinery is what pushes the car, not the aerodynamics. So I also got to say, it looks to me like Austin Selman and Chris McGuire, our lovely couple of the day, has managed to not wreck each other. So, I mean, I guess we got to give them a thumbs up for that because they were not doing too good after their incident. So hats off, I guess, to them for sorting out their differences and getting on with the race. But either way, Tyler Hudson, he's been in command of this race. He has the speed, he has the machinery, and, well, this is now going to be the 3rd time that he has to pin a start with Howard Weaver starting his outside, and one of these times, Randy, Howard Weaver's going to get it.
Well, you say that, but every single start we've had, no one's really challenged Tyler Hudson when we've gone to green, so Tyler should be relatively comfortable here. He seems to have the timing down, and no one seems to be anywhere close to him. Everyone's just being really, really passive on the starts, which is good to get good, clean racing and a lot of green flag laps in, but it's also a good way to just hand Tyler Hudson a victory 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, and of course, Tyler winning last week's race at Volusia, and well, we didn't really get much time to talk about Knoxville Raceway as a whole. It's not really a paperclip, not really I would call it a speedway oval. It's not a paperclip, it's not a bowl. So we'll see how it goes, though. I believe the proper term would probably be a fairgrounds track, because that, of course, is what Knoxville Raceway is. Tyler Hudson, he's going to be starting inside. Howard Weaver, he's starting outside. Brayden Wallace is there on the inside, and we will be able to go green one more time. We're going to have about 13 laps to go here at Knoxville Raceway. Tyler Hudson, he does get the whole start here, and we are green.
Howard Weaver doing his best to lurk closely to the back of that number 9 machine, or excuse me, 5 machine, but you're right, just another good jump from Tyler Hudson as Weaver goes a little bit to the higher side of the racetrack, looking for some of that speed, side-by-side racing back to 3 wide between the 6, the 17, and the 7. That's going to push the 7 back a couple spots. He's going to now, that's Virgil Graham, he's going to be fighting with the 2 of Jacob Leverstein, and they're still 3 wide once again, the 7, the 17, and the 2. These guys are getting really aggressive. The 17 of Kane almost gets sent around.
Yeah, that was Jacob Leverstein giving the tap to that car. He wanted to take a piece of the action. There's nowhere to go. You're 3 wide. Either way, Lucas Chowning, he takes the line away from Brayton Wallace on the exit, and it looks to me like Howard Weaver, where has he picked this speed up? He is on the rear end of Tyler Hudson. He is ready and to pounce as we've got 10 to go here at Knoxville Raceway. He looks to me like he's ready to rock and roll. I think he's found the developed line.
He's found the speed when he wants it, hasn't he? Right here at the end of this motor race, as they work themselves in towards 3 and 4. The 3 of Weaver, he looks to the bottom. Everyone else has been moving up to the top, and he tries to drive it down through the slick. He did a good job, didn't quite carry the momentum off the corner, but maybe something happening up there. Now he goes to the ultra high side of the racetrack. Weaver looking for any sort of grip as we're approaching 5 to go.
And I think if he taps him, he's not going to be scared. There's you go. There's your tap. There's your bump. There you go. Right into corners number 3 and 4. Tyler Hudson. He wrangles the car back under control, and he's not afraid to give it back. He goes to the inside, and he's going to throw a massive slider, but Weaver sees it. He's ready to go, and we have got a great battle here with 6 laps to go coming to, as it's Weaver versus Tyler Hudson. We've been waiting this for a couple of weeks now. Slide jobs getting thrown all the way around in the World of Outlaws Craftsman late model series.
Oh, and Weaver tagged the wall. I thought he would have been able to hold on to the lead there, but he tapped the wall on the entry into 1. And because of that, he gives that spot up to Hudson once again, but he immediately fights back, drives that 3 car down to the inside, again door to door with Hudson, but a little bit more room Hudson has to work with here as he puts himself on towards the front straightaway 3 machine, wheel to wheel, still through 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Tyler Hudson, he is now wrangling on the outside after that attack from Howard Weaver. Howard Weaver nipped him 1, 2, 3 times, and he was able to get that attack going. So we've got a good battle here. 5 laps to go here as it's another door. They will make contact once again, as it looks to me like Howard Weaver, he is trying to put a foot on this. Lucas Chowning, he wishes he could be up there right now, because if these guys take each other out, he could find himself with a feature win.
That he can, as Weaver still down on that inside, trying to aggressively get up around Tyler Hudson. Going to be 4 laps to go here into 1 and 2. Weaver putting those front tires onto that berm, trying to get any grip he can, but nothing going down there inside. That's slickened off really well.
Yeah, so I almost said Howard Hudson. That would be interesting. Tyler Hudson, he's now got the lead with 2 laps to go, and I think he might finally have the run. And let's see what Howard Weaver can do. That number 3 machine, I think he's been waiting for a real good time to challenge. And I think he had the speed here for about a good 4 or 5 laps, Randy, but it just seems to be falling away from him.
He still has good speed, but you're right, he just, the grooves that he found have sort of fallen away, as Hudson is now going to do his best to keep that 3 machine behind him into 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. White flag in the air right here, right now.
And so will he use the chrome bumper as it's known? Tyler Hudson already gets 1 tap as the Pete Gandy Pre-Series champ. He'll have 1 tap. Will he get another from Howard Weaver? We'll see. The number 3 machine, he's on the attack. They go past the backstretch one final time as Tyler Hudson, the number 5 machine, he comes off a corner number 4. No challenge from Howard Weaver as Tyler Hudson, after 3 restarts, he will take victory. Howard Weaver, oh, he is just so close. He is so close speed-wise, but he just wasn't able to get it done, Randy. That was a sensational final 10-15 laps of this motor race.
Howard isn't going to be happy he finished second, but that was a phenomenal handful of laps of racing there from those two. Things got physical, but not dirty. They leaned on each other at times, and aggressive moves were thrown pretty much that entire time. Amazing race from those two, and boy, Knoxville delivered in the late models. The late models delivered once again.
Yeah, and we even got to see some Bowman Gray Stadium racing there at, towards the start of that too.
Yeah,
so
we don't need to
got
talk
everything.
about that.
It's got everything you could ever want as a motorsport fan. But either way, so iRacing Dirt Night delivering once again with the late model race. We'll get through the finishing grid, the finishing lineup, I guess I should say, at Knoxville Raceway. What a good first-time race here. Tyler Hudson, he comes home with it. Howard Weaver, he'll finish in second position. Lucas Chowning will come home in third. Brayden Wallace comes home in the fourth position. Jordan Wesley, he will be placing in fifth. Virgil Graham, oh, what could have been? He'll start, he started in third, but he finished in sixth. Alec Kane, seventh. Jordan Mitchell, eighth. Roman Wesley in the ninth position. Joe Letteriello, he will finish in 10th. Jacob Leverstein finishes 11th. Austin Semmelman in 12th. Joshua Lawton in 13th. Dylan Wilson in 14th. David Galloway will finish 15th. Chris McGuire 16th, and Brett Wheeler in the 17th position. So, Randy, gotta say, I think we had a storming good time here at Knoxville. A couple of good heats. Didn't really do that much, but it just set us up for the feature, and my goodness, did this feature deliver.
It was a good one. Tyler and Howard, they drove really, really well. And I actually really liked the racing we saw here tonight, Cam, because it was just different from the last couple nights of racing we've had in Knoxville. It's just such a unique racetrack. We heard it from the sprint car guys. It's not really like any of the other racetracks we have on the sim, and for that reason, it provides good, fun, unique style racing, and we saw that this evening.
Yeah, and we've got, well, I would almost say the race winner, but we don't, so very close. We have got Howard Weaver, that number 3 machine. We'll get him here at Knoxville Raceway. And Howard, it's getting closer, race after race after race. And Tyler Hudson just seemed to be able to pull it on you here today. But boy, next week he better be careful, because you're just building up that speed.
Yeah, this week I felt kind of the opposite of last week. Last week I outdid myself in qualifying basically and got the pole, and then maybe, well, I was probably a little bit faster than him last week in the race, but we were a lot more even. And then this week I kind of didn't qualify as good as I had hoped, and in the race I was a lot faster, I think, but it was hard to pass. But yeah, at least we didn't wreck that one restart. I thought I was getting turned there, but luckily was able to come back.
Yeah, and we had a couple of cautions. Restarts, they're always tricky on the dirt, because as soon as you see the guy on your outside going, you just as a leader don't go. So how hard is it to really get these starts going here, especially in these late models?
I thought I got a good start there. I'm not trying to accuse him of anything, but I think you did the little dump thing there, and that kind of gives you a launch. But nobody's done that in a while. But I don't think he did that on the last restart. After I kind of had something, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Either that, which I thought I heard that, or I lagged or something on that start, and all of a sudden I was kind of getting hit from behind and fell back to fourth and got there. I actually kind of wish that last caution there didn't come out, because we were going to have a even better race maybe, although that was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good indeed. But either way, first time racing at Knoxville, and like to think that we did a fairly good job. I don't know off the top of my head where we're going next week. I will figure that out in the next 10 seconds. Okay, Williams Grove. So we're going to a track that really you can't really carry the speed through. That's the first time this season we're going to a circuit that you've really got to get off at the throttle. How are you looking to do Williams Grove?
Well, I always thought that was my worst track, but it seems like sometimes I run there better than anywhere. So it just kind of depends on the day, I guess. So I never have any expectations for there, but I finished third, second, and second so far in these races. So I think Tyler is pretty much unbeatable at Williams Grove from what I've seen. So probably not gonna win there, but I'm gonna try. That was a good race tonight. I'm glad both of us survived it.
Yeah, we are too, certainly. So either way, anyone you would like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just you guys for broadcasting these races. No, I'm super super happy you guys are broadcasting the late models again. Everybody gets to watch me finish second every week, so that's exciting for me and hopefully them. So, and then yeah, you guys for doing this, and Team Bill are pretty much.
All right, Mr. Howard Weaver, the number 3 car tonight. Well, comes home in second position. Good race, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys. Thanks again.
So, with that, we now have your race winner. He is standing by with Randy Chenowth. And, or Chenowth, whatever it is these days. And, Randy, you go right on ahead.
Well, Ken, the pronunciations never change, just your interpretation of it. But Tyler, a good strong run from you tonight. Phrase. You were quickest in qualifying, quickest in your heat. You look pretty much picture perfect out there up until about midway through the feature race. Howard really brought on a charge. How was it physically racing with Howard there through that midpoint and coming out on top?
Well, yeah, it's just it's such a freaking challenge to race that guy, man. He's so tough, and you know, it was just like last week. At Volusia, that came down to having to do some slide jobs back and forth with him, and yeah, it was a hard race. I'm not sure. I even thought last week when it got really slick like that, he was just a little bit better, but we have a ton of speed up until that point, so I don't know. Got to go to work, figure that out, and try to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good race though, really fun. A lot of it was intense. You know, I'm worn out from it, to be honest.
Now, next week, these cars go to Williams Grove. We were just speaking to Howard, and Howard mentioned that he thinks that you're pretty much unbeatable there in Pennsylvania. So do you think that you're as good as Howard seems to think you are, or do you think that he might still have something for you?
Well, definitely. He's going to have something, and these other guys will have something. I mean, those guys in that race right there, like, you know, Dylan Wilson, I don't know, all those guys in that race. Those are the guys to beat when it comes to these cars. If they show up, you gotta race those guys to win every time. So they'll probably all go to work and come to Williams Grove prepared, and it's definitely my favorite track on the out of all the dirt tracks we have. So that probably is good for me. But you know, Howard's just good anywhere. So it'll probably come down to like this in Volusia, kind of who gets out front and hit the qualifying right, heats right, all that good stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tyler. Congratulations once again on another big win here in these World of Outlaw late models. Before we let you go, any shout-outs, who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my buddy Cameron Higgins. He helped me out a lot this week, just like last week. We're going to try to run every one of these races, and we work on the cars together, have a lot of fun. He couldn't race tonight. He had to work. But, yeah, I dedicate this win to him, too. Appreciate it.
Moving on down the order, Cam, you're stood by with third place runner. That's Mr. Luke Chowning.
Yeah, so Lucas Chowning, we'll get him in here lightning quick because, of course, the World of Outlaws sprint cars are coming up momentarily. But Lucas, well, a couple of heats and a feature. And, I mean, I got to say, as far as the racing goes, it was great to watch the last little bit there with, of course, Tyler Hudson and Howard Weaver. But you were really in the battles today here at Knoxville.
Yeah, I was in a few things, little mix-ups there, and beating and banging, trying to get around everybody, and I was standing right there with Tyler and Howard, but every time I would catch them, I'd mess up, or they'd get not racing and just pull out on me, and it was just a tough battle.
Yeah, and this track kind of really lent to that, perhaps more of a sprint car track than a late model track. We're going to Williams Grove next week. What are your thoughts about it?
It's not really one of my strongest tracks, so you may not be seeing me quite up here, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, well, anything can happen. I hate to make it abbreviated, of course, but anyone you would like to give a shout out to or anything like that before we let you go?
I just appreciate y'all guys putting this on, and iRacing, and I ain't really got no shout outs. You guys for doing it.
No problem. Well, I mean, we'd love to do it. I mean, it's great to see, you know, guys coming up and through the ranks and getting all the names in. So we're, of course, happy to do it. You guys put on an amazing show tonight. So thank you, and maybe we'll see you next week.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks.
Of course. So with that, that rounds up leg number 2 of the World of Outlaws, the iRacing Dirt Night, I should say, with the World of Outlaws late models at Knoxville. We are setting our sights on Lanier National Speedway. We've let some dirt down. We're going to throw these 410 wing sprint cars around, so stick with us. It's iRacing Dirt Night, Friday night racing, of course. iRacing Live, RaceSpot TV.
I actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, 3 wide action on a turn 2. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the cars. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And, early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Of the hashtag Dirt Night here on iRacing Live and RaceSpot TV. Hello again, I'm Cameron Walsh with Randy Chenowth and Hugo Louis. We're bringing you continuing coverage of the Friday night Dirt Night. Of course, one of the most popular things I'd have to say going on Friday night, so you should continue to watch us. But either way, get ready, come one, come all. It's the 410 Wing Sprint Cars World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series here at Lanier National Speedway. Randy, this track is certainly the interesting one. It was the new track on the block last season, and gotta say, well, it's a pavement track that has been laid down with dirt, and it definitely poses interesting racing, especially with how short the racetrack is.
Well, Cam, you got the story wrong. It's a dirt track that was then paved, and as Lanier it basically no longer exists. I think the track itself still exists, but isn't running much anymore, so they decided to put dirt over it as a homage to its days as a dirt track. So because of that, we get to get some sort of idea what dirt track racing in 2017 would be like on the iRacing service here around this racetrack. But qualifying currently underway. Nelson Webster has pole at the moment with a 12.199. But the main thing about this track, Cam, that's so interesting compared to the other ones we have, the only track that's under half a mile in length, 0.38 miles, 3/8 mile oval. Kind of getting down near that shorter track territory. We don't have any quarter-mile tracks just yet. Lima Land hopefully coming a little later on this year. But with it being the more shorter, tighter sort of racing, it always is a unique night of running to watch.
Yeah, and I believe Kokomo is next. I'm calling it. So we'll see. But I would, of course, like to say I would much prefer rolling wheels. Thank you. But anyways, I still got rained off. Oh, I never put my ticket back, so I don't get my refund for that. That's a bummer. Anyways, top of the poll, Alex Bergeron, no surprise there. 12.156, 12-second laps. This is going to be a fun one. Nelson Webster is here as well, a 12.199. Randy, I'm not to say this is what I like about heat racing. We constantly get new names. Nelson Webster, he's one of them. Oh, no surprise here. Tim Ryan decides to show up with exactly the same time as Alex Bergeron.
Good lap there from Tim Ryan, and he actually going to take that pole position away. So we can only see the times down to the thousandths of a second, but the sim does measure to margins even smaller than that, to the 10,000ths and the hundredths of a thousand. So maybe, just maybe, I think well, not maybe, but 100% Tim Ryan was quicker by the slimness of margin. He may have had to measure it on an atomic level.
I think it's because he's got a shorter name, Randy.
No, that's actually not how it works.
So, well, how many pace laps do they take? That's what I want to know. No, either way. I will say, though, I feel like this track was a little bit more worn in than when the late models took to the racing circuit. So perhaps we will see just how worn in this racing circuit can get. Now, that inside line, you'll normally see the outside. Okay, the outside is where people are going to be sitting as we're ready for heat number 1. Tim Ryan is going to be leading heat number 1, and as they go around, we'll take you a tour around this Lanier National Speedway circuit. You'll see outside running, a little bit of, drift a little bit down to the middle, and you'll have 1 or 2 people try the inside line. Now, maybe that'll change. Maybe that's changed a little bit the last time we were here, but that inside line, that's kind of a zone of danger, as it might be aptly called.
I call it the danger zone.
Oh, God, stop. Anyway. Either way, you might have situations where somebody takes that line, they clip that pit wall, or alternatively, the dirt starts wearing in, the apron still kind of exists down there, and you can actually lose some traction going down and up the aprons. So we will see here. It is a very interesting time here at Lanier, and, well, hopefully it'll put on a good show.
Certainly indeed. It's like I said, I love the fact that it's a tighter sort of track. We have so many of the big tracks, Volusia, Eldora, Williams Grove, USA, even though it's a fantasy track, Knoxville, all those big half-mile racetracks. Always nice to see these tighter, shorter types of races. It's one of the things, Williams Grove's a half-mile track, but just due to its layout, it's pretty tight, and I love the sort of racing you get on these types of racetracks.
All right, let's take a look at the starting grid for heat number 1. 8 cars ready to rock and roll. 3, 4 rolls of 2. It's Tim Ryan, Nelson Webster, Austin Selman's in this heat. Chris Brenner, Michael Sheridan, Howard Weaver, he's starting way in the back, Graham Bolin, and Daniel Gao. So we will see here, cars are getting ready to rock and roll. Lights are out on the iRacing official pace track to kick off the final leg of the iRacing Dirt Night here on RaceSpot TV and iRacingLive. Tim Ryan and whom else could possibly lead us to the first green here. He'll pin it at some point. We will see where the pace truck is going to be pulling up. There it is. Let's see. When does Tim Ryan go? He gives it a half-a-second jump. Massive hole shot. And actually, Austin Selman almost jumps it too. So, good start here. We are green at Lanier.
Austin Selman, aggressive move, getting into Nelson Webster there on the outside. That's an uncharacteristic mistake from Selman, who's going to fall back into the 3rd spot because of it. But aggressive racing from these guys in these open wheel sprint cars. Everyone pretty much up around the top cam. No one opting for that bottom.
Yeah, and Tim Ryan, he is able to pull away after Nelson Webster just wasn't able to get the traction on that start. And that was a crazy start from Austin Selman. He actually drove way up, made some contact. He did a wheelie down the backstretch. Massive slider from Graham Bolin. He will collect 2 cars. That's Chris Brenner and Howard Weaver. Howard Weaver not going to be happy camper with that one. He's lost his rear axle. His night is done. For Heat 1 anyways. He's going to have to go to last chance qualifier if we have it. And if everyone else is able to continue, but for Chris Brenner as well, he drops way back. It's the top 7 that transfers, so we will see where that lies as we are on lap number 5 of 8.
Well, there's only 8 cars in this heat race, so I think we're not going to get a consolation race. Everyone should go to the feature, but Howard Weaver not going to be happy about that at all. Tim Ryan, though, out in front, pretty much clear of Nelson Webster. He's making heat number 1 look easy. 1 second advantage as they come across the stripe.
Yeah, and so everyone's just spacing each other out here, just running the track in. So if you're Tim Ryan, just get comfortable here. Austin Selman, he wants to go. You can just take a look as we're looking right now at the battle for position number 5, it's Graham Bolin versus Daniel Gao to the inside, and that number 10 machine, Graham Bolin, on the outside in his number 6 machine. As the inside line, it just slides up right now. They're going to have to wait as the checkered flag will come out for Tim Ryan. It's Tim Ryan, Austin Sutherland, Michael Sheridan, and then Graham Bolin over Daniel Gao. I think that inside line is going to have to wait for the outside line to run in.
Yeah, it's just the geometry of the track is such that top side is very, very quick. That's how some of these 3/8 mile tracks runs throughout the world. Paris, just a couple hours north of me in California, World of Outlaws run there once a year. Paris is very much the same way. It's a 3/8 mile oval, similar to Lanier in a lot of ways, and it's just a top running racetrack for the wing sprint cars. It is just the way it goes some nights and at some tracks out there in the world, but we're going to now set the grid for heat number 2.
Heat number 2, getting ready to be locked and loaded. It's going to be Alex Bergeron and his nominally always extraordinarily bright blue number 1 machine. Cameron Dance, he'll be starting his outside. Max Stombog, he's going to be starting 3rd. Bob King in 4th. Robert Kendall in 5th. Joel Berkeley 6th. Blake Durflinger in 7th. And Lewis Hewitt starts in the 8th position. So we are behind the iRacing official pace truck one more time. And I gotta say, Heat Racing Randy has certainly made this a heck of a lot better of a show.
Yeah, it's really helped lengthen out the show, hasn't it? It's not just qualifying then directly into a race. It sort of spreads things out a little bit and just gives everyone a chance to get a little bit more running in, you know, every single night. The feature races, yeah, it loosens them up a little bit. Hopefully, people will get loosened up a little bit and don't. Let's just say, hopefully, we don't see some tomfoolery happening in the feature race tonight.
You mean like 2 cars angrily driving into each other in the back of the field? Yeah, let's not have that. Well, I will say, thankfully, these are the open wheel cars, because I don't think they can do that. Lights are out on the pace track. Heat number 2 underway. Alex Bergeron, he pins it. He almost clips the inside pit wall. That's how far he dove to the inside. We are green here at Lanier.
Good jump here from Bergeron as he has a nice little buffer over the scrap for 2nd place. That's Max Stambaugh as well as Cam Dance. They're basically wheel to wheel down on towards this front straightaway. Into 1 and 2 they come. The 8 machine trying to make that bottom work. Not seeing anyone make it do so, and not going to work for Max right here, but he's sticking to it. I think he could have gotten in line, but chose not to do so. They're fanning out 3 wide for a moment in the background.
Yeah, and it looks to me like Max Stombog, he's got a pretty good, he's trying to make that inside line work. I don't know if it's working out for him. Bob King's pretty comfortable on that outside line right now, and actually Bob King kind of chases him down to the pit wall, and he tries to throw something up to Cameron Dance. Cameron Dance, he's got nothing there on Cameron Dance. Alex Bergeron, he's comfortably running ahead. He's trying to get a feel for the track right now. His Ford's having sprint cars. It looks to me like Bob King almost clipping the pit wall as he tries once again.
Aggressive moves from everyone moving down to the bottom of the racetrack. One car does so not voluntarily. That was a TTL car. That was Joe Berkeley. Unfortunate for him, I think he lost his front wing, and that might be the end of his heat race as Bob King still trying to make a move on Cam Dance. This is going to be 2 to go at the stripe.
Yeah, so Bob King, he's comfortably running in 3rd right now. So it's Bergeron, Dance, King, Stombog, Kendall, and Hewitt. Hewitt running to the inside. Joel Berkeley running to the outside. 2 TTL machines running against each other right now. No worries about transfer slot or anything like that. Just running it to where you can.
Coming down to the checkered flag, Alex Bergeron through 3 and 4. He's going to take this heat race victory, I think, as Bob King still aggressive down on the bottom. Cam Dance 2nd. A lot of shuffling in the background, and that car, that TTL car, that lost its wing of Joel Berkeley, he tags that wall and ends up on his side. Not the way you'd like to end a heat race, but fortunately for him, I believe we're going to skip the B main as well in this, and indeed we do. We're going to go directly to the feature. So I think Joel, he's going to start pretty much all the way at the back of the field, but not as bad as it maybe could have been.
Yeah, let's, well, you know what, I was going to say, if they were only dropping 2 or 3 cars and they would end up having a small console. I mean, last time I think we ran the feature minus 2 cars, which just seemed a little ridiculous. So I'm happy that we're skipping the consolation and getting the full gambit of the field. So, for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series, let us take a look at the feature grid right now. No surprise, it's Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron on the row. That is going to be good fun. Nelson Webster, Cameron Dance starting in row number 2. Austin Selman, Bob King, row number 3. Michael Sheridan, Max Stombog, row number 4. Graham Bolin, Robert Kendall, row 5. Daniel Gao, Lewis Hewitt, row 6. Chris Brenner and Joel Berkeley rode number 7. Howard Weaver starting way in the back next to Blake Flinger. So fireworks are in the air. Cars are driving on the track. Randy, this is going to be a huge one. The front of this field is absolutely packed right now with the talent that we've seen throughout the couple of years.
You got talent. You also got some, let's say, friendly rivalries going on. Bergeron and Tim Ryan. They're already making contact, so maybe these guys expecting to race a little bit hard. Bergeron and Ryan, they're pushing the boundaries really close here on the pace laps. Boys, you're not supposed to intertwine the tires on the caution laps. Not saying you're supposed to do it on the green flag laps. You're not supposed to do it at all, but this is going to be an aggressive race around this bullring style track that is Lanier. Oh boy, hopefully we spend a good number of this 30 laps on the green.
Oh boy, indeed. 30-lap feature coming to you, people out there. Thank you so much for making hashtag Dirt Night part of your night. Tim Ryan blows everybody away, and he has got the whole shot. We are green here at Lanier National Speedway for the feature race.
Nelson Webster on the bottom trying to get the move done on Alex Bergeron. He's going to slide up the racetrack in front of that #1 machine. Alex Bergeron drops the spot back. Selman, he's going to take his hand at making the slider, gets in the second spot. The race lead is gone. They were 3 wide for a second for a moment as Webster slotted himself up to the middle of Selman and King to hold on to that spot. But King on the bottom, he's going to make it stick. Cam, that bottom has come in and has come on strong.
Yeah, everyone has pushed to it, and it is coming in like a bat like Bob King was on that last slider. That was insane. Everybody was able to modulate. They did a little bit of action. We have a yellow out on the track. 2 cars involved. One of them's Howard Weaver, and the other one, I believe, was Daniel Gow. Let's take a look at a quick replay here and what has befallen the #7 machine. Oh, I see what's happened. Complete innocent victim. Daniel Gow ended up having some sort of issue here going up the track. Actually, I think it was Graham Bolin.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Howard Weaver. Like you said, wrong place, wrong time. He's had such good nights in the late models the last 2 weeks running, and the sprint cars just really for a while haven't been going his way. So Howard, I think that car got tipped back over on the right side, and I don't think it's going to have too much damage on it. It wasn't really that hard of a hit, so he might be able to stay out there and keep running if he was able to stay on the lead lap there, which I believe he did, although it looks like he's come down pit road, so maybe not. It looks like Howard's night might indeed be done.
Yeah, Howard is the type of driver where if his car is damaged, he'll pull it in. He won't risk it. He's not one to really try to take chances. But either way, lights are out on the iRacing pace truck, and in typical Tim Ryan fashion, I believe we need a periscope to see the field from the iRacing pacing truck. As also Blake Durflinger is out as well, so let's take a look here at the front row. It's going to be Tim Ryan and Bob King, whereas Austin Selman and Nelson Webster are going to be looking on. Alex Bergeron, he wants to go. He tried to go twice already this time, and he will go. We are green one more time. Don't be shocked if you don't see Alex Bergeron throwing the slider.
Selman already threw one. They're going to be almost 4 wide. Selman gets down and he gets into some contact. That's going to bring out another caution, I think, surely. There's one car up on the top of the racetrack. Bob King, he's now facing the wrong way. So a couple cars end up facing the wrong way, ended up on their sides. Max Stanball was one of them, Bob King another. But these guys, I think that patience that we saw, well, there wasn't much patience, but these guys need to sort of calm it down a little bit here, Cam. Some aggressive racing here. You said it, you know, as we went green, Alex tried to jump the start twice. That is something Alex has gotten somewhat known for. Caused some issues in the past because of that. So everyone's racing really hard right now.
I think that really this led on from Semmelman. He drove really hard into that corner, and he got an awful exit. I mean, I am talking like he exited at 75 mile an hour, and everyone else was doing like 10 mile an hour faster. And he just, I think the car just kind of rolled over on him, and he basically hit 3 cars all at the same time. Bergeron, Bob King, Cameron Dance. He's able to continue after losing the front wing, but Max Stombach, however, he is stuck on the outside. So retirees right now, Bob King, Max Stombach, and Graham Bolin, as well as Blake Durflinger. We have the pace lights out. Let's re-rack them. Let's restack them. Nelson Webster is going to be starting outside Tim Ryan. Let's see where the number 4 machine pulls his 410 wing sprint car Now, will he give it a 1 Mississippi? Will he give it a 2 Mississippi? He's got full reign. He'll go as soon as he gets the chance. He doesn't want Bergeron doing any tomfoolery. He wants to go, go, go. And we are green here at Lanier National Speedway.
Alex tried to time it once again, and unfortunately for him, Webster did not do a good job at all in getting it started. So because of that, Alex moved back to the second spot. Webster now wants to hold on to third here as Chris Brenner's throwing a good aggressive move down along that inside. Up the racetrack, Brenner comes, has to get out of it. Big wheel stand from someone in the background. That was Gowie down a little bit deeper down the field, but Tim Ryan doing a good job trying to break away.
Yeah, and he seems to have a pretty decent punch right now. That inside line, I think it worked, at least up until people got up to speed. Those first couple of laps that we ran where cars were absolutely crazy, I'd have to say, on that start. Probably one of the most impressive starts I've seen, at least until they wrecked it. But Bergeron seems to be reeling him back. They're starting to do that thing, Randy, where you're dancing that outside line. It's almost like Eldora, but you don't really have the bull to protect you. As it looks to me like Bergeron can run the outside line faster, but you know what? There's an ERT machine in your way.
We've seen this before in the past where two guys just get lined up and the one behind might be quicker, but they can't make that offline stick, especially when they're approaching 10 laps to go. It seems like that top groove is still the strong way around, but there's just not much of a cushion up there, Cam. You look how much margin for error Tim Ryan really has at parts as he goes through that high side of the racetrack. One little mistake and you're slapping that right rear into the wall.
Yeah, and once you do that, I mean, the cars are right behind you. When these things wreck, they wreck hard. And here comes Alex Bergeron, massive slider. He'll hold it off. He knew he didn't have it. So good heads up running from him. He knew he didn't have the run. So for Tim Ryan, he's continuing to be your leader. We've got 10 laps to go in this feature here at Lanier National Speedway. It's been an interesting one for sure. Here comes Nelson Webster. He's trying to make the inside line run. Michael Sheridan also looking to make the inside line run. Haven't really had much time to look down to the back of the field, and so we've got pretty good running right now between Robert Kendall and Joel Berkeley. But right now, it's just been pretty decent running right now. Battle between Chris Benner and Nelson Webster.
Yeah, fights on for third here as they run through 3 and 4. Webster very close to Brenner, but Brenner also did a good job reeling in Bergeron 2, 3, and 4 that time. Inside of 10 laps to go. They were 3 wide, I think, for a moment between the 3 of them as Brenner has reeled in that one car running the middle of the racetrack. Seems that part of the track is where you want to be right now. Bergeron's still up top. He gets a good run off the corner, but that 3 and the 9 are awesome through the middle.
Yeah, and looks right now a little bit of a wheel tap on the outside wall for Chris Brenner. He has to slow up a little bit. That allows Nelson Webster to run the inside just a little bit more. I don't know how that inside line's running. It does not seem to be faster at all. Tim Ryan, in the meanwhile, he not only has managed to get the speed hooked up on the outside, he is now lapping cars. Blake Durflinger is on the track right now, and that actually takes the line away from Nelson Webster. Webster is able to wash out, no problems there. They continue their side-by-side battle as they go through lap traffic for the first time, I think, this season. But for Tim Ryan, he's got 5 to go.
5 laps to go for Tim Ryan, who has a nice 1.2 second lead, making it look easy out there as Bergeron trying his best to reel him in, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so here as Brenner continues to fight with Webster, and you have Michael Sheridan. He's tossed his hat in the ring as well, so a good 3-car scrap to bring into the final step of the podium here in the last handful of laps.
Yeah, Tim Ryan, these guys are dancing on the razor's edge. I know they're making it look easy right now, but those rear tires are maybe inches away from the concrete wall, and once they click those, they wrap themselves in the wall, they start flipping. So these guys are absolutely on the limit right now, and don't think Tim Ryan's handed off at all. You disengage 1 millisecond, you are absolutely done. So with these cars, you need to wrangle every single second you can get out of them, as we are now on the white flag lap. Doesn't look like Alex Bergeron's going to have anything for him. Nelson Webster, he tried to throw something onto the inside. Not going to happen, though, as it is going to go to Tim Ryan up the corner number 4. He will come and he will collect the feature win for Lanier National Speedway. Alex Bergeron comes home second. Nelson Webster will finish P number 3, which, Randy, for all of the craziness we've had, 1, 2, 3 starts, finishes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but it was a good hard scrap between Nelson Webster and Chris Brenner to the end, and while the top 3 run as they finish as they started, Cam, Chris Brenner 13th up to 4th in that one, showing that you can make moves, drive your way through the field here. You also have in 6th place Joe Berkeley, 14th up to 6th.
Yeah, great running. So let us take a look at the finishing order here at Lanier National Speedway for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. It's been a good one here tonight to round out iRacing's Dirt Night. Tim Ryan, he takes it after 7 minutes and 59 seconds. Alex Bergeron, he'll come home in the second position. Nelson Webster will finish in third. Chris Brenner finishes in fourth. Michael Sheridan finishes in the fifth position. Joe Berkeley finishes sixth. And hey, by the way, we finished under green. Lewis Hewitt finishes in seventh. Robert Kendall finishes in eighth. Daniel Gowan, ninth. Blake Durflinger finishes 10th. Austin Selmelman in 11th. Cameron Dance in 12th. Bob King 13th. Max Staubach 14th. Graham Bolin 15th. Howard Raver 16th. Those were all the retirees. We only finished with 9. But you know what? We started with, I believe it was 16. So, you know what? I'd have to say, pretty good day of running here at Lanier, Randy. And I got to say, pretty good run.
Yeah, it was an awesome race here at Lanier. We had a couple cautions, but you're going to expect a couple cautions in these sorts of cars around a place like this. Some good aggressive racing, though, and for the most part, everyone kept it clean out there. So it was a good night of running here for the sprint cars and really up and down dirt night.
Yeah, up and down dirt night indeed. Now, I just want to double check. Yes, this is actually going to be our only trip to Lanier for the entirety of this season. That's how many dirt tracks we have now. Either way, we've got our Victor Tim Ryan, who will be joining us outside his 410 Wink Sprint car. So let's get him out of the machine and get him in here on RaceSpot TV. So once 7 minutes and 59 seconds of good hard running, and Tim Ryan has come out the victor. Your winner, everybody, Tim Ryan. Well, you had a good run in that first heat. Nobody really challenged, but towards the end of this one, it started getting crazy.
Yeah, exactly right. It pretty much slicked up to the wall, and I wasn't very good on the bottom all week, so I decided I'll either end up upside down or stay on the wall.
And you had some really good challenges from Bergeron, from Webster, and from Cameron Dance as well. Just kind of take me through this Lanier Speedway. It's the only time this whole season we're going to be here at Lanier, which might be a little bit of a bummer for you because, well, you've obviously taken the win here.
Yeah, I don't mind the track. As I said, though, I'm not very good on the bottom, so pretty much I spent all practice sandbagging and just rolling the bottom, trying to wear it out as much as I could, and then hoping for the heat races in the feature to come.
Yeah, and well, either way, you had normally we have that consolation race. That's a lot of minutes that you stay out of the car, so we didn't have that. So you know, you were able to stay on it, I guess. But either way, after this one, we are going, I believe, to yeah, Williams Grove. We already stated that, but yeah, we're going to Williams Grove for a doubleheader with the late models next week. Very different track from Lanier, but either way, you looking forward to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind Williams. I don't know if I'll make it. I'm just taking it 1 week at a time, and every race I show up just trying to win, not really going for any championship or such.
Well, either way, Mr. Tim Ryan, you've got the victory here, which means you've got the podium. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to or thanks before we let you go?
Yeah, Evolution Racing Team, of course, and today we're just announcing the top 10 team, so that was something to be proud of, and also I'd like to thank our sponsors, Logitech G and Joel Timing.
And of course, that list on the Sim Racing Observer. So either way, yep, thanks very much, Tim, for hopping in the booth. Congratulations on your hard-won victory here at Lanier National Speedway. Thanks so much for taking some time to talk with us, and we wish you a Happy New Year.
No worries. Thanks for broadcasting again, boys. Appreciate it.
Of course. And we've got Randy. He is beside Alex Bergeron. I was out of his machine. He finished in the second position here today at Lanier.
Yeah, I'm stood by with Alex. Alex, it was an intense night of racing for you tonight. You and Tim Ryan were so close, ran pretty much identical times in qualifying. Both of you pretty much dominated your heats, and you guys were pretty much locked together that entire 30-lap feature. How was it trying to keep cool in that one machine, but with the top side pretty much slicking up all the way to the wall and that bottom groove not really working that great?
Yeah, for sure, man. The race was pretty good. I mean, the track was perfect. The top side was coming in pretty good, and we ran the top, me and Tim, and we had a good race. I did a slide job, and I knew it was not gonna work, so I backed it off, and you know, it was a good race, me and him, and I was catching him at the end though. It was if you'd gave me like 5 more laps or like 2 more laps, maybe it would have been a good battle though again.
Now, talking about these sprint cars, we're used to seeing you guys run on the big half-mile tracks and, you know, some of them larger, USA, Eldora, Williams Grove, Volusia. What do you have to change philosophy-wise when you run this slightly tighter track at Lanier, and what do you think you'll have to change mentally when we get some of the much shorter tracks like Limaland and Kokomo, the quarter-milers?
Yeah, mentally it's just the way the car and all around you. I mean, it's a very tight situation where everybody's on very, very close to each other. Like we've seen, like there was a wreck, I think, beside me. I was lucky not getting involved in that, but that's what happened in a short track. And you know, car-wise, it's just you need to make the car to turn better like very quickly, and it's not like the same as Eldora and stuff where you have more speed, you can carry on. But now it's just you know, all acceleration and how you can turn quickly in the corners.
Thanks for joining us, Alex. Congrats. I know you're not going to like it, but congrats on a good, strong run tonight, finishing second. You held off the charging Nelson Webster and Chris Brenner there near the end and had to fight hard with Tim Ryan to hold on to it. But before we let you go, any shout-outs? Who would you like to thank this evening?
Yeah, I know my paint skin didn't show up again tonight. I need to send it to you guys, I think, because I think you guys aren't running tournament. I'm not sure, but all my sponsor, Mirror Inc., Team VLR, and for the team. And you know, excuse me, all the team VLR, and the guy who does my paint scheme, Mick Benoit, and TDS Racing for the oval side. So thank you guys, and to you guys for RaceSpot TV for broadcasting every night, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Cam, back over to you.
And I'm actually going to have to hand it over to Hugo Louis to start the music because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to be concluding our coverage of Hashtag Dirt Night here on iRacingLive and RaceSpot TV. Congratulations, of course, to the victors. GRC was a fantastic race. Late models followed it up with a heat, and we had amazing clashes to finish out what was yet another great chapter in dirt racing here on iRacing. And we thank you all so very much for sticking it out with us and following along. Thank you so very much. Of course, Hashtag Dirt Night is going to be happening every Friday night, so of course, do tune in. I've been Cameron Walsh. He's been Randy Chenowth. That's Hugo Louis, and we thank you so very much for, again, making us part of your day. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you in 2018.